I'd like to welcome everybody today for a protest of HSBC by the Alternative Banking Group of Occupy Wall Street. You're going to hear more about us, but first I want to introduce our speaker for today. Today we're joined by Everett Stern, the whistleblower for HSBC. Everett has a bunch of things he wants to tell us. Everett?
All right, New York, listen up, because we have a major issue going on here about a block away. HSBC at 452 Fifth Avenue is sponsoring terrorism on U.S. soil. Now, I came here today with all begging. I personally am a conservative Republican. I joined up with this group because even though they are Occupy and left, they would get out here, hold signs, and support and help me. But right now, when I was an anti-money laundering officer at HSBC, I was faced with seeing countless, we're talking hundreds upon millions of dollars of terrorist funds. Money moving from Kariba supermarkets in Gambia back to Lebanon, to Tajiko, owned by the Tajiin brothers. HSBC has admitted this. HSBC has admitted to sponsoring terrorism. They've admitted to it. They've admitted to sponsoring drug cartels, the Zeta drug cartel. Over 500,000 Americans a year die from drugs. And they're taking our $30 deposit fee, or withdrawal fee, and they are putting that towards sponsoring of terrorism and drugs. This is not a normal banking scandal that we're faced with. This is a scandal of biblical proportions that is affecting the entire country, that is a national issue. It's a national security issue. So I'm standing here today in front of you because, again, I'm the whistleblower here. I've reported this to the FBI. I was featured in Rolling Stone. You can read my article, and you'll see I've been trying to get this information out. And what ended up happening was the government formed a deferred prosecution agreement, and they fined HSBC $1.9 billion as a result of their crimes. 5 weeks of their pay. Their stock went up. That doesn't make any sense. That is not American. How is it that they can sponsor terrorism and get away with it? If I were to donate $1 to Hamas or Hezbollah, I would go to jail for life. It's treason. But they get to walk. In fact, not only do they get to walk, they get to enjoy a lobster dinner and get into their BMW. Now, there's nothing wrong with capitalism. Capitalism has made this country great. Just don't use it to fund terrorists. That's all I'm asking for here. Now the problem is that HSBC is continuing to do this. Now, here's the new news. Here's what nobody knows yet. That my attorneys have filed with the SEC, the Department of Justice, that HSBC is continuing to sponsor terrorism and continuing to defraud the American government. Here's how they did it. I'm going to tell you. They did it, and the reason why I'm saying this now is because the public has to be aware. What happened was HSBC sold off their credit card division to Capital One. So to show they built an AML program, they took hundreds of debt collectors, the people calling you at 8 o'clock at night. They took them and made them anti-money laundering compliance officers. I'm not kidding. If you go down to Newcastle, Delaware, where the facility, anti-money laundering facility is, and you ask anyone in that building, what is money laundering? I guarantee you not one person's going to know what it is. Now the thing is, we have to stand here today under the banner of truth and justice and unite as Americans, and we have to kick them out of the United States. What I am asking for is it's for HSBC, it's for the United States government to reopen the case against HSBC. There is no deferred prosecution. You don't get to walk for sponsoring terrorism. 50 years ago, Martin Luther King gave a speech, said, "I have a dream." And in this I have a dream speech, Martin Luther King made it very clear that what he wanted was for America to live up to its creed of all men are created equal. Well, now, 50 years later and one day, I am standing here telling you that it is not equal. because for some reason, bankers are not held to the same standard as us. It is absolutely not fair that a banker gets to walk out of jail or not even get into jail. It's a get out of jail free card when I would go to jail for life. Where's the equality in that? That's America? That's not America. And what I'm asking for is, again, President Obama, I'm a Republican, but I have tremendous respect for you. You made people care. When you were running for office, you made people care. We've lost it. Now we're fighting a war between caring and apathy. Nobody cares anymore. The only thing people care about is what's on American Idol. That's a problem. We have people sponsoring terrorism a block away and nobody cares. People are walking. This is a serious issue. I mean, this is what we have to understand here. So I think we all need to take a look internally as to who we are as Americans, and we absolutely must shut them down. And I'm asking the President, I am begging the President of the United States to reopen this investigation and shut them down. They've admitted to it. Woo! All right. Done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Everett. It's inspiring that you're here with us, and it is indeed a nonpartisan issue that we're discussing. Too big to fail and too big to jail. Next, we're going to hear from our member of our group named Virginia. Virginia?
Yay! There's so many issues to this that I'm trying to limit it down so no one gets bored and can focus on what I'm trying to ask you as people to do about the situation we're confronted with when we know what HSBC is up to. The phrase money laundering is an oxymoron. You cannot purify dirty money. HSBC has been mainlining dirty money in the name of profits, for over a decade. And all they got was a slap on the wrist. 10% of their profits for 1 year. And yet we've heard that they've laundered up to $60 trillion worth of money. The DOJ has tried to shove the issue of them working with terrorists under the rug. Brewer seems to think that this isn't important. But along with it, we're cooking the books, which is another oxymoron. They've been, what they've done is committed a huge corporate fraud, and to say that too big to fail justifies not prosecuting them as an excuse. It's not a reason. It's just an excuse. What really bothers me is that I used to work on Wall Street, and I worked in the heyday of junk bonds, and I became really disgusted with what my bosses were doing. But I was a single mother and needed money, but I could see the damage that they were doing to people. And what seems to me here that people seem to assume this is a victimless crime. Brewer said that he spent sleepless nights thinking about all the people that would be laid off if they gave a real prosecution to HSBC. I asked him to think about the mothers who are grieving their sons that were killed by death squads and drug lords in Mexico, who all got their money from a dirty bank. To me, that makes me sleepless. And it seems to me that we have to face that we all have to make an individual choice about what we're going to do once we know what went on. So rather than, because abuse thrives in silence, we have to keep the drumbeat going to demand prosecution and put a leash on Rottweilers that are killing our children. HSBC is on a money drunk, and what they do is they ally with terrorists and drug dealers in order to make it so that other people don't have choices. All the money is going into gold toilets and yachts and Rolexes, right? On a money drunk without end. As I said, it's already gone on for a decade. So, in my opinion, drug money banksters go to the Hamptons, whereas half of our black male population goes to jail for simply holding a joint, which is social inequality at its total worst. And it keeps that profitability system going where we don't look at how are we taking care of the needs of our citizens and our children. So these are the choices that I came up with that I'm asking you to support. One is to support Everett because whistleblowers are important. They have the information that we need. 2, get the petitions. Circulate them around. They're good education.